A frontier model like Llama 3405B trains on something like 10 to 16,000 H100 GPUs for about 2 months, roughly 54 days. Everyone uses the thing those GPUs produce. Almost nobody can build the core of it from scratch. So that's exactly what we're going to do. A transformer is the architecture under basically every modern language model, and its beating heart is one operation called attention, where each word, represented as a list of numbers we call a vector, gets to look at every other word. By the end of this video, we will have written every piece of a transformer ourselves, from a single attention operation up to a tiny model that actually trains and predicts. No magic. No import quietly doing the hard part for us. By the end, a model we built out of raw matmols predicts its next token, and then we crack open real GPT-2 and find the exact same machine staring back. Here's the plan. We start with attention as a soft dictionary lookup, just a few lines of math. Then we wrap it in a single attention head with learnable projections, stack that into multiheadattention, add positional encoding, assemble a full transformer block, and train a mini GPT on a toy task. Finally, we load pre-trained GPT-2 and inspect its attention. The notebook's whole philosophy is code first, theory second. And it's built for active recall. It opens by making you answer 6 questions from memory before you read anything, then closes by asking you to explain why each piece works. You see a working implementation, then you ask why. That ordering is what makes it stick. Before any neural network, here's the cleanest intuition. A normal dictionary does exact matching. You hand it a key, it hands you back one value. Attention does soft matching instead. You hand it a query, it measures how similar that query is to every key, turns those similarities into weights with a softmax, and returns a weighted blend of all the values. Softmax just takes a list of raw scores and squashes them into positive numbers that add up to 1, like turning votes into percentages, so they can act as weights. So instead of one answer, you get a mixture, weighted by relevance. That single idea is the whole engine. Let's write it in about 10 lines. 6 tokens, embedding dimension 8, so each token is a list of 8 numbers and k is just that length. We make random queries, keys, and values. The core line is query times key transpose, divided by the square root of dk. Multiplying a query vector by a key vector, that's the dot product, gives a single number that's big when they point the same way, which is exactly a similarity score. The transpose is just the bookkeeping that lines them up so every query meets every key. Now feel this, 3 lines. Score, soften, blend. That's the entire engine behind Chat, Claude, every frontier model. Softmax along the last dimension makes each row a real distribution, and weights times values is your answer. Every row of the weights sums to 1. That's attention, and there's nothing else hiding under it. If you plot those weights as a heat map, each query row is a distribution over all the key positions, and the output for a position is the weighted average of every value. Here's the key thing. Every position computes this at the same time. Unlike older models RNNs that had to read a sentence one word at a time, in order, there's no left to right loop and no sequential bottleneck. But that parallelism has a cost. Every token compares itself to every other token, so if you double the sentence length, the work roughly quadruples. That's what order n squared means. The compute is order n squared in the sequence length, quadratic. Hold on to that number, because near the end it's the exact thing flash attention exists to fight. In the toy version, we hand it in Q, K, and V directly. In a real model, they're learned. Given an input x, we project it 3 ways. Q equals x times WQ, K equals x times WK, V equals x times WV. A projection here just means multiplying x by a matrix to remix it into a new vector, and calling WQ, WK, WV learned means their numbers start random and get nudged during training until they're useful. Those projection matrices are what the network learns. The attention formula itself is unchanged. Softmax of QK transpose over root DK times V. Now let's put that in a proper module that takes a batch of sequences and optionally a mask. 3 bias-free linear layers for the projections. A linear layer is just that matrix multiply from the last scene. Packaged and bias-free means no added constant, just the multiply. In forward, we project X into Q, K, and V, then compute scaled scores with matmul and the root D, K divisor. If a mask is passed in, we fill the masked positions with negative infinity so the softmax drives them to 0. Then softmax, then multiply by V. It returns both the output and the weights, because we'll want those weights later to visualize what the model attends to. This divisor looks like a small detail, but it matters a lot. Think of the softmax like a thermostat. Bigger vectors mean bigger dot products, the numbers blow up, and the thermostat slams to the wall, fully hot or fully cold. All the weight collapses onto one position, and once it's pinned to an extreme it stops responding. The gradients go nearly flat. Here's the precise link. When D, K is large, the dot product standard deviation grows like root DK, which is exactly why we divide by root DK, not by DK, to bring it back to scale 1. Dividing by root DK is the calibration screw that drops the dial back into the range where it can actually feel the difference between tokens, variance near 1, gradients flowing. This is the classic thing people forget under interview pressure. For a language model that generates left to right, predicting the next word while you can see the next word isn't learning, it's copying. The answer is sitting one cell to the right. At training time, we show the model the whole sentence at once for speed, so we wall off the future with a triangle of negative infinity. The mask is an upper triangular matrix of Booleans. True above the diagonal means blocked. Those future positions get filled with negative infinity, and after softmax they're stone cold 0. The notebook proves it. Peak weight in the masked region, basically nothing. One head is a specialist. It learns one trick, maybe just who sits next to whom, positional proximity. But a sentence is doing 5 things at once. Grammar, who refers to what, who did what to whom. So we don't hire one specialist, we hire a whole panel. Multiheadattention runs several attention computations in parallel, each head with its own projections, each free to obsess over a different relationship. Then we staple their answers together and project once with WO. In practice, we don't loop over heads, we project to the full dimension and reshape, which is much faster. D-model has to divide evenly by the number of heads, and DK per head is D-model over N heads. The trick is the reshape. Split heads takes a batch by sequence by D-model tensor and views it as batch, sequence, heads, DK, then transposes so heads come before sequence. Merge heads does the reverse. And here's the reassuring part. The scaled dot product attention from clip 3 is byte for byte identical here, the same matmul, the same root DK. All that changed is a reshape, so it runs on every head at once. Getting this reshape and transpose right is the part candidates trip on. Project X with the combined Q, K, V layers and split each into heads. Compute scores batched across heads with the same root D, K scaling. We add an empty dimension to the mask, so the same sequence by sequence pattern automatically applies across every batch item and every head. Softmax, multiply by V, then merge the heads back together and run the output projection WO. The output comes back the same shape as the input, batch by sequence by D-model, which is exactly what lets us stack these blocks on top of each other. Shuffle the words and attention shrugs. Dog bites man, man bites dog. To the raw math they're identical, the same soup of tokens. That property has a fancy name, permutation equivariant. Shuffle the inputs and the outputs just shuffle the same way, but all it means is attention is gloriously, dangerously order blind. And for language, order is the whole ballgame. RNNs get order for free from processing one token at a time. Attention doesn't, so we have to inject position information into the representations ourselves. This is the original Vaswani recipe. We build a table once. Even dimensions get a sign, odd dimensions get a cosine, and the div term spreads the frequencies across the dimensions using 10,000 to a power. Note the D-type equals float casts on the arrange calls, matching the notebook so positions are floats for the sin and cos. It has no learnable parameters, so we store it with register buffer, which means it saves with the model but isn't trained. In forward, we just add the right slice of the table to the input embeddings. Each position gets a unique fingerprint, and relative positions can be recovered as a linear transform of the encodings. If you plot the encoding, the low dimensions are high frequency and change fast across positions, capturing fine detail, while the high dimensions are low frequency and change slowly, capturing coarse position. Fast spinning dimensions are the second hand, slow ones are the hour hand. Together they pin down exactly where you are, the same trick of Fourier decomposition pulls. Honest note, this is the right thing to learn first, but it's not where the field stopped. Modern frontier models swapped it for rotary position embeddings, rope. We earn that upgrade at the end. This is just the foundation it's built on. Now we assemble a full block. It has two sublayers. First, multiheadattention with a residual connection and a layer norm. A residual connection just means we add the sublayer's output back onto its input, giving the signal and the gradients a clean shortcut so deep stacks still train. Layer norm rescales each token's vector to a stable range, so the numbers don't blow up or vanish as they flow through many layers. Second, a feedforward network, a small two-layer network applied to each position on its own, again with a residual and a layer norm, here with a jello activation in the middle, a nonlinearity, the thing that lets the network learn curved, non-straight-line patterns. We use prenorm, meaning layer norm comes before each sublayer, which is what GPT-2 and most modern LLMs do. The original paper used postnorm, but prenorm trains more stably. The feedforward expands D-model up to a larger DFF, applies jello, projects back down with dropout. The block holds two layer norms, the attention and the feedforward. Watch the forward carefully. We layer norm X first, run attention on that, and add the result back to the original X. That addition is the residual, the shortcut that lets the signal skip past the sublayer. Then layer norm again, feed forward, and add back. Norm, sublayer, residual twice. That's the whole block. Now we stack blocks into a GPT-style model. Token embedding turns IDs into vectors. Then positional encoding adds order. We build a causal mask so no position sees the future, run through a list of transformer blocks, then a final layer norm and an output projection back to vocab size gives logits for next token prediction. Logits are one raw score for every possible next token in the vocabulary. The biggest score is the model's pick. One detail follows the original paper. The embeddings get scaled by root D model before adding position. The notebook flags this as an honest gotcha. It only behaves well under the paper's embedding init, and our toy code is exactly that mismatched init case, so most modern LLMs drop it. For our tiny vocab, the model is structurally a real GPT. To check that everything actually works, we train on the simplest possible pattern, a repeating cycle, 0, 1, 2 up to 9 and back to 0. The input is the sequence. The target is that same sequence shifted by 1 because we're predicting the next token. If our transformer is correct, gradients flow, attention learns, and the loss drops. It's not meant to be impressive. It's a unit test for the whole architecture we just wrote. This loop is the heartbeat, and it's the same heartbeat whether you're training 10 parameters or 400 billion. The model guesses, cross-entropy measures how wrong the guess was. The backward pass figures out which way to nudge every weight to be less wrong, and those nudges are the gradients. Then the optimizer applies them. Forward to get logits, flatten the sequence dimension so cross-entropy can score every token, and we zero the gradients first because PyTorch accumulates them. Then the three-word mantra you'll type 10,000 times in your career. 0 grad, backward step. Watch the loss fall over 100 epochs. The payoff? We feed in 0 through 9, then 0, 1, and ask it to keep counting. And it does, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 9 and around the loop, dead on. A transformer we built out of nothing but matmols and softmaxes just learned a pattern by itself. Small task, but there is not one line of it we didn't write. Building it yourself is the point, but it's satisfying to confirm the same structure powers a real pre-trained model. We load GPT-2 from the Transformers library with output attentions turned on so we can pull out its attention weights. It has 12 layers, 12 heads each, and an embedding dimension of 768. Same components we just wrote, just bigger and trained on a lot of text. One honest nuance worth knowing. GPT-2 uses learned positional embeddings, not the sinusoidal table we built. The attention math is identical, only the position scheme differs. We tokenize a sentence, "The cat sat on the mat because it was soft," and run it through GPT-2. The outputs carry an attentions tuple, one entry per layer, each shaped batch by heads by sequence by sequence. Exactly the weights tensor our own multi-head module returned. We plot a few layers and heads as heat maps. The notebook gives you things to look for. Early layers often show local, positional patterns, later layers tend more semantic, and you can hunt for coreference. Does the token it attend back to mat or to cat? These are hints to inspect for, not guarantees. Now the full, honest framing the notebook is careful about. What you just built is the textbook transformer on purpose, and production models have moved on. Every piece you wrote has a production-grade descendant. Multihead got slimmed into grouped query attention so the KV cache, the stored keys and values from every earlier token, kept so generation doesn't recompute them, doesn't balloon, because on a 70B model at 128,000 tokens of context, it can otherwise blow past 100 gigabytes per request. Sinusoidal became rope, layer norm became RM's norm. And the big one, flash attention, just refuses to ever build that giant n by n matrix in the first place. Here's the precise claim, the one the notebook flags as the classic interview red flag. Flash attention does not cut the flops. The compute stays quadratic, order n squared. What it cuts is memory from quadratic, the n squared we flagged on minute 4 down to linear. Same math you wrote, just no longer naive about the hardware. Knowing both the from-scratch version and where the field went is exactly the fluency these systems are interviewed for. So what did we actually do? We built attention as a soft lookup, scaled the dot product by root decay to keep gradients alive, stacked heads to capture many relationships, injected position because attention is order blind, and wrapped it all in pre-norm blocks with residuals. Then we trained a tiny GPT and confirmed the exact same structure runs inside real GPT-2. The full notebook is free in the Frontier ML Toolkit link in the description, and it's loaded. The active recall quizzes, an interview question bank with company-by-company expectations, production-scale numbers, flashcards, and a reading guide for attention is all you need. Subscribe for the Frontier Path, where we build the rest of the stack from scratch.